Okay, so hi, we are Much Beta, so a little poem to kick off. And our event name is Gun Street, with potential for changes as the event progresses.
Yeah, our concept is based on the idea of making a installation/performance-based exhibition, essentially, based around making a physical manifestation of the internet, of the digital sphere, digital processes. And this came about in the beginning because of all the workshops kind of things we've done centred around the new generation, next generation age group, were all kind of stemming around, obviously it's 14 to 30. The youngest, they've had the internet pretty much the whole time they've been growing up, take for granted. The other end of that, the 30-year-olds can probably see the negatives of the internet, certainly the positives, but they can see a difference in time. So I think it's quite interesting for everyone. And it did come up as a big thing that's how this age group obtains information now. And I think it's important that it's not just used as a tool for the exhibition, but that it forms the exhibition itself. And one thing that we wanted to do was kind of highlight things that happen on the internet that have become normal by making them physical. The central one being image distribution, circulation, churning, reblogging. And we do this by drawing a comparison between the internet and a factory, an industrial factory. So there'd be a production line of images, which would be physical images, original pieces of artwork, which is a big deal for us. Lily does collage, Matt's designer, I'm an illustrator, so that'd be an original drawing, obviously worth quite a lot of money. And Lily's collages, Chris's collages have a aesthetic quality that's very particular to the original artwork. Which obviously there's a texture of the paper, which then when scanned in, put in the digital sphere becomes something completely different. So our idea is to have these images circulating on a kind of conveyor belt
That Matt is able to build for us.
being a product designer, which is good. And every person who comes into our internet picks an image from the conveyor belt which they like the best, which is linked to Tumblr really, because I think people collect images on their Tumblr that they think represents them or that they're connected with. So it becomes, they kind of take a bit of an ownership of it, even though a lot of these images have lost their kind of, their origins and who made them. Throughout the course, you see a list of who's reblogged it, loads of lists of people, so that kind of taking of images for themselves. So every person who comes picks an image and we make a copy of it, and then they take the original one, which was going round, so then the original is given away to the first person who asks for it, and is replaced by a copy, which will be quite a good copy, and then the next person who picks that image will take the copy, and it will be replaced by a not so good copy. And throughout the exhibition, obviously, it will completely deteriorate to question mark.
So, like the memory, participants will receive something, but the artists will lose something, but it's not explicit, so it's not saying it's a negative thing.
That's one thing that we think is important, that it's not preachy in any way. It's not saying the internet is damaging, it's not saying the internet is bad. It's purely showing kind of what can happen if we're not mindful of the internet, and just that difference really in those processes to the physical thing. And the industrial element was quite interesting, which is why we call Gun Street. The link to obviously what's happened, what the internet has done to physical industries, obviously completely changed them. And in Birmingham there's been a big decline in kind of that messy factory, obviously, with the times. So it's quite interesting to think of the internet as a process, a very clean process with no waste, no kind of smog.
We want it to feel quite clean. So. Through Ideas Tap, we'll offer 6 other Birmingham-based artists the opportunity to contribute to the project. We'll put a brief on the website that people can respond to. The work's then shortlisted and selected by us with 6 chosen images to be displayed on the carousel. Just to curating the work means that the internet remains crucial throughout our process, builds further links with NextGen and the MAC itself.
Yeah, like in terms of promo, we've got a lot of skills. We're all practitioners, so we can quite easily remove an image which will be put on Vimeo and linked up with a Twitter that Chris has already made. So we can get the Mac audience that, like, in the same way that you do. But as a plus on that, me and Chris are still at uni, so we can quite easily circulate it through moving image around the building, posters, and sending emails through the tutors. And then we're also going to do poster design as well, but because we all have different aesthetic, we're going to do one each, and then as a group decide how we're going to distribute them and what visuals we use.
When we were considering budget, one of the main factors is a photocopier. So we've been investigating like how much it costs to rent a photocopier, especially an industrial one that can do that size, and we're still in the process of that. But the location that we've chosen is the not disused, but paint room that is often neglected because it has a very industrial feel with the like pipe works and the old rooms in the back. And it's just a nice aesthetic that hopefully we can restore it, because obviously it's coming up to the 50th anniversary of Mac, and that's obviously from old Mac, and it's bringing it back into the centre.
It's also a room of production, so it brings awareness of what the potential of that room as well.
And the consideration of the processes. It's really, really good. It's an excellent idea, and it's very well